Well, how's it going, kids? Welcome back to another semi-live in the studio at 3. This is like day 12 for me. Well, we'll get into what I've been up to in a little bit. Uh, During the week, Tracy and I've got some recording done on our little barn find rancher, and I've just basically been trying to recover from the last few days. But the rest of the Partzilla multimedia crew, they had to keep going, where I get to stop here in a little while. Nathan and Mike and the rest of the PRMX crew are in Las Vegas, Nevada. All I can say is my hat's off to you and Mike, because I'm out of steam. Y'all just going to have to carry the baton on without me. Tell us what's
We're
going
having
on
fun
out there.
Wish we were here, John. Eventually, we need to get you out here. But it's warm out here in Vegas today. But I'm actually sitting in the pits right now in Vegas at the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're getting our swag ready to go. We got our swag bags. Terrence and Mike are putting them together right now. We've actually had people already coming up to our booth asking for stuff. So we are right across, if I can actually show, right across from the Monster booth. So if you find the Monster booth, you'll find us. And you can come get some swag. All you got to do is follow us on Instagram and subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll give you some stuff.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, give me about another year to recover, and then I'll try to make it out there to one of y'all's events.
I got you, John. We got a spot for you anytime. You know it.
All right. So what have I been up to this week? Well, as you may or may not know, because we haven't posted anything yet, Tracy and I rebuilt an engine. And if you would show that first photo, it is for a Can-Am X3. And she's been busy editing all the footage for it. But the cool thing is, we took basically a brand new engine, broke it all the way down, rebuilt it, made it a little bit better. We put in Carrillo pistons, or the CP pistons, and Carrillo rods. Matter of fact, there's the old boxes behind me, and some ARP studs. Now, why do we do that? That is because we shipped this engine off to a place called Badlands, and it is in Attica, Indiana. And they have an event called the Badlands Bash. And the trick is, we met another YouTube presenter out there that you may have heard of. His name is Michael Sabo. He's got an incredibly, a really good channel, really talented guy. And he had built this X3, and it had a little bit of an issue. And I said, listen, you've already done a build. Let me build one for you. We'll meet out at the Badlands Bash. And we installed it live. Yep, we had people wandering around us. Michael and I jumped in there. We got it installed. I'd like to say everything went really smooth on the install. Yeah, it did, but it did have a little bit of an issue, but we worked our way through that. And eventually it was high fives all the way around. See, now I'm smiling. It took a while to get that smile on my face, though, because it tested me, to say the least. But we jumped in there, got it done, and gave it just a few minutes of break-in, and then we dropped the hammer on it. I mean, we ran that machine hard. The Badlands crew and the Attica Motorsports team, they basically let us take over basically the showroom part of their parts department, and we can't thank them enough, because without them, there's no way we would have pulled this off. Especially want to shout out to the guy on the far right there, Scooter. he is the man. He helped us with getting the special tools that we didn't think about that we needed during the process, and any other little parts that needed to go on the machine. So thank you, sir. And the other person I want to give a shout out to is Mike Decker. I mean, he's out in Vegas already. I mean, without him, we would never been able to capture all the photos. And believe me, if he would have taken this shot, you would have actually been able to see him. But that is him inside the X3 where we got to play with it a little bit. But just glad to get it done. And once again, if you're not familiar with Michael Sabo, do a quick search on YouTube and it'll go straight to his channel. Really talented guy, and it's been a lot of fun working with him. And who knows what project we'll work on next. All right, with that out of the way, let's see what questions you may have sent in during the week that Hank has lined up for me. Now, usually I have a fair amount of time to go through these and do a little research. I read through them really quick, so this is going to be a lot of off the hip. And if I don't give you a full, adequate answer for your questions, well, I may have to do a little bit more research and swing back around on it. But let's see what Hank has put in there for us. And then whatever you want to send in today, I'll give it my best shot. Once again, if I can't pull it off, I'll do the research and then at least get you pointed in the right direction. Matt Tucker, if wiring up multiple lights to run from one switch, do you have to run them through a relay? Yes. If using this fuse box, or do you just wire them in parallel using the same method as your light bar on the mule? All right, if I'm following you correctly, you're saying you've got a light bar or light bars and you want to run those off of a single relay. The answer is yes, providing, of course, it isn't an excessive draw. Now, with most of your LED lights, their amperage draw is kind of minimal. So as long as the relay can handle it, and most of them can, your standard is going to be rated at like 25 amps, and you could run probably 10 good-sized light bars with that. So to answer your question, yes, you can parallel a couple, two or three of the light bars onto one relay, if I'm following you correctly. Karina Marino, I have a 2007 GSX-R 600 and I replaced the whole fuel pump. At first, it worked, but after 2 days, the fuel pump is not priming. Help. All right. Whenever you go through and you replace an object and then it fails again, doesn't happen often, but it could be just a bad part. You didn't mention if this was an OEM part, if it was aftermarket. But regardless, just start over pretty much and make sure that it's getting power. It may be that, yes, it's getting power from the relay like it's supposed to, and it's just a failed part. I mean, man made it so it can fail. It's just that simple. So just start your diagnosis process over again. Check your fuses, go to the relay, get out your test light or multimeter, and see if it's getting power. If not, then work your way backwards to find out why it's not. But if it is getting power, the chances are then it was just a faulty fuel pump. It happens. Priscilla Cooper. We have a 2008 Yamaha YFC R1. We had to do some maintenance on the clutch basket, keeping the clutch cover gasket on the cover while putting on the cover is hard. Is there any easier way to do this? It is so frustrating. Yes, it is. The best advice I can give you is lean the machine over carefully. Let gravity help you do this. Now, the only other suggestion I would say, because when the machine is sitting straight up, the cover actually is tilting out, or the case is tilted out, and it almost has a zero chance of staying there. So understand that, and trying to keep it on your cover as you're bringing it up there, well, that can be rather difficult as well, because I'm pretty sure your dowels are in the case itself. But if you have no choice but to have to do it with the machine sitting straight up versus laying over on its side, probably going to get in trouble for this. Put a little grease around the gasket and that'll help stick it in place. But some of the purists will say, "Oh, you can't do that." Well, yeah, you can. It'll be fine. All right, Isaac Moreno. Am I doing this in order? Yeah. I replaced the rear brake pads on my YFC 450 and drained it almost completely out, if not all the way out. Really wish you wouldn't have done that, but okay. I put in brake fluid and it's not engaging at all. Is it because there's air in the system? Yes. Or because of the parking brake I removed? No, the parking brake is mostly mechanical. So this will just be air in the system. And the reason I kind of chastised you in the beginning is if you want to introduce, you do not want to introduce air into the system. You just want to take new fluid and then draw it through with the fluid still in there, especially if you haven't opened up the system anywhere, which it doesn't sound like you did. It's just a better way to do it other than emptying it out and then trying to get out all the air. So it sounds like you're just going to have to do a good bit more bleeding to get it to pull through, especially when you're emptying it all the way. Just using your master cylinder is going to be very time consuming. So if you don't already have any type of vacuum or any type of bleeding pump, you may want to consider investing in one. They're not super expensive. And once you get one, you're going to see, or just you'll come to the conclusion, how did I get along without this? So maybe it's time to go and invest in one. They're not that expensive and well worth it. All right, Nighthawk J30. The front brake handle on my 03 Yamaha Kodiak 400 4x4 is difficult to pull. I replaced the brake fluid and bled the air out. Still feels rough. What else should I look? Well, you're circling around it, I'm pretty sure. The master cylinder is basically just a piston with a spring in there, and it's got a couple of seals on that piston. That's how it builds up pressure in the line by just pulling that handle. Chances are yours is probably gunked up in there, because if water can find its way in, and it will with brake fluid because it is hygroscopic, it attracts water. It's going to pull it in there first because it's vented to atmosphere just a little bit at the top of that reservoir. So chances are you've got a piston that's getting hanging up or stuck inside of that master cylinder. Does that mean you need to replace the master cylinder? It depends on if the cylinder walls are pitted. But most manufacturers, and I'm fairly certain that Yamaha is one of those, they have rebuild kits, or you can buy individual pieces for the master cylinder itself. So you can go in and replace the spring, the piston, and the seals that are associated with it. Maybe give that a shot first, because that's going to be a whole lot cheaper than replacing the entire unit. But you open it up, pull that piston out of there, and if you see and can feel pits or any type of damage on the cylinder walls, then it's time to go ahead and replace it. Tom Yoroza. Hello, I have an 09 YFC 450R. The thing was running great, and all of a sudden the battery went bad. Switch the battery out. It's charging fine and starts right up. Are you sure? But now the bike backfires and sputters and sometimes even shuts off when you accelerate. Any ideas where to look? When you said it was charging fine, are you sure? Because it sounds to me like your regulator rectifier is potentially overcharging it, and that's wreaking havoc on your electrical system. And that will also explain why your battery just died, because usually they break down over time unless they get overcharged and potentially damage the joining cells. And that's typically what happens when they do get overcharged. That thin wall separating each one of the cells breaks down, and boom, there goes three of your volts or 6 of your volts just out the door, gone. So I would say put a multimeter on it and see what you're charging at. You do not want to see anything over 13.5 or 14 volts. Anything north of that, and it's overcharging the system. All right, let's look. I've got one more from this week. Bearded Moto. Hello, very useful videos. Well, thank you. Well, no, thank you. I do have a question. All right, it's a 2008 GSXR 600. My fuse is good on the starter solenoid, but I've got no power on the yellow wire when I hit the start button. Okay. The relay does not click at all, as well as the fuel pump does not turn on. Any help pointing to the right direction would be appreciated. Thank you. All right, you're not getting any power at the main. Your fuse is good, and your fuel pump is not priming. So there's two things we need to look at. Do take a look on your negative side. Make sure that that battery negative post is making a good connection at the battery itself and down to the frame where it is attached. The other thing, that one has a tip over switch, and I think on the GSXR is back at the back. And on some bikes, like the Honda, they put them under the fairing up front. Maybe I'm remembering that in reverse. But do a quick search for your tip over switch and locate it. Make sure it hasn't come out of its mount. Most of the time, they're just held in by a rubber strap. Rubber gets old, it breaks loose. It thinks the bike is on its side, and it kills the electrical power, especially the one going the circuit going to the fuel pump. So that would be the two things I would look at first. All right, that is that it for this week? I believe that it is. Let's see what Hank has lined up for me on the chat. Okay, looks like we've got a few. All right. David D asks, hi, my 2021 Polaris 570 just quits after running for a half hour. It'll start back after a few minutes, and then it'll run fine again. No warning lights, no codes, no errors. Temp does not run up to 205. Okay. One of two things. These are the two things we want to look at. First one's going to be really simple. It almost sounds like it's building a vacuum inside of the fuel tank and starving it for fuel. So that may be the little one-way valve inside of your fuel tank is stopped up, or the hose that's coming off of it. Loosen up your fuel cap. Go for another ride and see if she shuts down at 30 minutes. If it's consistently doing that over and over again, I bet you that's going to be it. Other thing is, possibly your coil is starting to fail, and one that is starting to fail, it'll typically run for a while, but then once it gets heated up, it breaks down that field and it'll just shut off. And once it cools off, well, then maybe you're able to start it again. I'm betting it's going to be on the fuel starvation side. So, and David, if you would, if we're right, send me an email, and Hank will drop that in the chat. It's the Ask Partzilla email address, and let us know. Because if I'm right, we want to share it with everybody. If I'm wrong, then I want to keep going until we do figure it out. All right, Darren has asked me, hey, John, I have two older bikes, a cool 76 XT500 and a 74 MT250 Elsinore. That was a cool bike, precursor or a parallel machine to the CR. Both tanks are rusty. I cleaned them out, but now the rust is back. What's the best fix? Thanks, from Canada. I'm not a big fan of coating the inside of fuel tanks, but the older stuff they had in the 70s and 80s, that cream system, I'd stay away from that. But one that I will recommend is made by POR, and POR stands for Paint Over Rust. That's what this company does, and they've got a multitude of products where they can encapsulate and stop the rust process. And I know for a fact that they have one for fuel tanks. It just puts a light coating in there that seals all that in. Now, if it's rusted through, no, it can't fix that. But if you just want to keep the rust from coming back, that's the one you want. So look into the company. It's called POR. Red Arc. Oh, I know this guy. Nothing but trouble. Bored at work. You must be. You know the model. It's 1974 Yamaha XS650. How do you go about merging the existing engine wiring with one of those units? Do they cross at all, or is the firing system all mechanical? What are you trying to merge this with, Brantley? You have to give me a little bit more information. But as far as whether it's mechanical, yeah, 74 is just about all mechanical. I mean, you're right on the cusp of when they made the transition from points and condensers over to CDIs, but I don't think they were there yet. So to answer your question, yeah, that's going to be all mechanical. All right. Larry says, love Partzilla. John has many great videos. Well, Larry, thank you very much. That kind of recommendation. Why don't you send us a message over to that Ask Partzilla web email address, and I'll have Charlotte mail you out a swag pack. Why not? I haven't given away anything in a while, so I guess we're overdue. All right, 3:20. Y'all gonna let me get out of here a little bit early? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you're interested in watching the Team PRMX guys run, if you're not in Vegas, which most of us are not, I'm pretty sure they are streaming on Peacock. So go check them out. And if you are in Vegas, go drop in on Nathan, Mike, and the rest of the PRMX crew, and they can set you up with a swag pack. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I am exhausted. Well, thanks for coming in, spending a little time with us, sending us in some good questions. Anything else you come up with during the week, send them to that Ask Partzilla address. I'll do a little bit of research, or I'll try to do a better job next time, and we will get your questions answered. Once again, thanks for swinging in, and we will see you next Friday. Y'all take care.